to SWD PantherTV. I'm your host, Kiara Chanel. 2020 has been a very rough year due to the loss of so many. Let's take a moment of silence for the people we have lost this year. Today's episode is dedicated to one of America's greatest tragedies. September 11th, 2001. Here's Victoria to tell us more with our lead story.
Just about everyone is familiar with the tragedy that occurred on September 11th, 2001. However, many adults, and especially the generation born after the incident, may be unfamiliar with the details of this American tragedy. I'm Victoria Smiley, and I'm here to give you the 411 on 9/11. The incident that occurred on September 11th, 2001 was caused by 19 militants associated with the terrorist group Al-Qaeda, who hijacked 4 airplanes to carry out a suicide attack on U.S. targets. On a clear Tuesday morning around 8:45 a.m., 2 of the planes were flown directly into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A 3rd plane hit the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and the 4th plane crashed in a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, when the passengers attempted to take control over the plane, which was intended to hit the White House. Well, who is Al-Qaeda, you ask? Founded by Osama bin Laden in 1988, they were a radical Sunni Muslim organization dedicated to the elimination of Western presence in Arab countries. They were militantly opposed to Western foreign policy. But why did 9/11 specifically happen? The attacks are believed to have happened in retaliation to the United States support for Israel and its continued military presence in the Middle East. On this very tragic day, 2,977 people died. All of the 19 hijackers committed murder and suicide, and more than 6,000 others were injured. The immediate deaths included 265 on the 4 planes, including the terrorists, 2,606 in the World Trade Center and in the surrounding area, and 125 at the Pentagon, not to mention the lasting trauma that the survivors face. Each year, a moment of silence is observed to correspond with the attacks, beginning at 8:46 a.m. Eastern Time, the time the first plane, American Airlines Flight 11, struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001.
Can you believe that this happened just a year or 2 before some of us was born? Thanks, Victoria. If you want to know more about September 11th, 2001, here's Jamie and Michaela about movies centered around this event.
8-1. There's something going on with Tower 2. Run! The elevator shaft!
Attacks happening. Here is Janiyah, Alasia, and Joshua with Teacher's Corner.
My name is Janiyah, and today on Teacher's Corner, we are asking teachers where they were during the attacks on September 11th. Today, we're going to get this perspective on this tragic event and hear their stories.
So on September 11th, I was a teacher in the classroom at Redan High School, and I was told to turn on my TV. Saw the tragedy that was happening in New York, and that was one of the most saddest days, weeks that occurred in my lifetime.
Hi, my name is Chief Warrant Officer Washington. My remembrance of September 11th, 2001 was I was in the Navy on board the USS Enterprise, actually in the Persian Gulf. My ship was taking fuel from another ship, and then we saw the 2nd aircraft run into the towers. At that moment, I heard my captain say, "I wonder what is this tower schedule?"
My name is Mr. Stover, and I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday. I was at work when we heard the news that there had been an attack in New York City, and there was a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, and everyone was trying to run to schools to pick up their kids.
Thank you, teachers. And as we come to an end, we would like to say that we are so glad that all of our teachers are still here with us, and we send our deepest condolences to anyone who lost loved ones during the 9/11 tragedy. Back to you, Kara.
Today in history.
We shouldn't just remember the day, September 11th, as a day of tragedy. Here are some less horrific events that occurred on the same day. In the year 2000, a global steady increase of oil prices and protests led to the United States facing the highest gas prices in their history, with a peak of, hear this out, $1.70 per gallon. This caused massive concern over national inflation. On 9/11 in 1609, English explorer Henry Hudson sailed up the Manhattan River, discovering the island of present-day Manhattan. Today, with Manhattan being the heart of New York City, we can look at this discovery as something great to come from a day we usually look down on. Another big event happened in 1978. Jimmy Carter signed the Camp David Accords, which led to the Egypt-Israel peace treaty the following year. As you can see, there are some very diverse and interesting events on 9/11. Back to you, Kara.
Can you imagine working in Twin Towers but calling out sick that day? Here is Santel, Mia, and Aaron with I Survived.
I'll always see the explosion, the mess, the panic, people running, people falling in the street. Worse than a thunderstorm. The whole side of the building was ripped out. The whole top of the building was ripped out with flames pouring out, and it was actually bent.
9/11 started out like most mornings. You just get up, the alarm goes off, and you get ready to go to work. Little did I know my whole world was going to change that morning, and my desk literally shifted. And then my manager came through and was like, we have to go. I just wanted to go home. And it felt like somebody took their hand and put it on the small of my back and stood me straight.
I was on the 36th floor of Tower 2. And then I looked up and asked her why would the Air Force be flying jet planes between our buildings? And she says, what do you mean? New Yorkers and people who were just there banded together. We were all just people. We were not anyone of any one race. We were not of any one religion. We were just people, and we were trying to save each other.
Thanks, guys. So many people have died during 9/11 attacks. Let's cherish the memories of those we have lost. Samaria and Caitlin will present to you in loving memory.
52 here in New York. I'm Brian Gumble. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed.
Thank you for watching September 11 tribute show of SWD PantherTV. I'm your host, Kara Chanel. Stay tuned for more shows. And remember, Panthers, embrace the good tradition. We are Southwest DeKalb.
I fight for you the hardest. It made me the strongest. So tell me